Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our English lesson for today. So we are going to be looking more about our Gruffalo book. Now, what are we going to do? Why are we learning about our Gruffalo book? What is our aim? What is our little mini outcome going to be? Have a think and tell the screen. Yes, you're right. We're going to retell the story of the Gruffalo, aren't we? And what are we going to include in our story? What things are we going to include? Have a think and call out to the screen. Yes, that's right. We're going to include all of the things that we have learned so far this year. What a challenge! So, yesterday you were carrying on with ordering your events for story, and you've written some lovely story maps to help you to be able to know the story really, really well. So, I'm going to share my screen with you now, and hopefully, you can see what our learning objective is going to be for today. So we now need to think about what it is that we've learned this year that we're going to include. So we need to learn today to remember our different, we call them posh word alert, literary devices. And that is basically fancy pants words for things that we use in our writing to make it more exciting. So we need to be able to recall the different literary devices we already know. We need to be able to identify, so find where they've been used already in the Gruffalo. And lastly, we need to write an example for each of the literary devices that we find in the Gruffalo. So let's have a think. What have we learned so far this year in our writing? So we've learnt lots in maths and science, but what about in our writing? What have we learnt to do in writing so far this year? Pause the video, have a think. What did we do in writing in our Alice in Wonderland experience? What did we do in our On the Way Back Home experience? Lots of things we've done. What did we do in our speech writing experience? Have a think, pause the video, write down what you think we've learned so far. Right, let's see if you remembered. How many of them did you remember? So, in our Alice in Wonderland experience, we learnt all about expanded noun phrases. Cool, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? We have also learnt so far this year statements, questions and exclamations when we were writing our speech for Mrs. Mitchell about something we wanted to change in the school. We've also learnt about commands. Do you remember in our Jill Murphy story we were writing, we learnt about what commands were and we used them. And also in that experience, we learnt about conjunctions, subordinating and coordinating conjunctions. What else have we learnt? Oh yes, we've just learnt about apostrophes. Do you remember for possession when it belongs to something, and the contracted form when two words join together? And lastly, what have we just learnt about? Commas in a list. So when we retell our story of the Gruffalo, we want to include all of these different things in our writing, and they are called literary devices. Literary devices. Literary devices. Well done. Right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to recap and remind ourselves what all of these things are so that we use them properly when we retell them. So, let's have a look firstly at expanded noun phrases. We did this in our Alice in Wonderland Curiouser and Curiouser experience. So to remind yourself what an expanded noun phrase is, can you pause this video and watch the BBC Bite-Size video? You don't need to do any of the other tasks on that page, just watch the video to remind yourself. Off you go. Right, do you remember? So it's when you use adjectives to describe a noun. So a noun is a person, place or thing, and adjectives are words that tell us about the noun. So I can remember some from our Alice in Wonderland. We had the fluffy white rabbit, didn't we? We had the happy flowers. We had the colourful flowers. We had loads of expanded noun phrases in our Alice in Wonderland writing when we described the rabbit hole. So let's have a look then. Now we know what they are. Can we find in our Gruffalo story an expanded noun phrase? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can look at it together. So here's the first bit of the story. I would like you to shout at the screen if you think you can spot an expanded noun phrase. Let me start reading. A mouse took a stroll through the deep, dark wood. A fox saw the mouse and the mouse looked good. Oh, in those two sentences, is there an expanded noun phrase? A mouse took a stroll through the deep, dark wood. A fox saw the mouse and the mouse looked good. Pause the video, have a think. Is there an expanded noun phrase in there? I wonder if you found the same one that I found. Right, let's see if you did. Let me share my PowerPoint back with you. I found the example. Deep, dark wood. The wood was my noun because it's a place. And deep and dark were my two adjectives that described the noun. Well done if you spotted that. Right, your turn. Have a look through the rest of the Gruffalo story and see, can you find another expanded noun phrase in the story? Adjectives describing the noun, and write it in your journal. Pause the video now and off you go. Right, next thing. What on earth were statements, commands, questions and exclamations? Can you watch this YouTube video to remind yourself what they were? Pause me and off you go. Go and watch that video. Did you enjoy that song? It's very catchy, isn't it? Okay, let's have a think then. Let's go through these one by one. Let's look for a statement together. Now remember, a statement is a fact or an idea. And what punctuation mark does it have at the end? Can you call out for me? It's a full stop. Good. Okay, so we're looking for a fact or an idea, full stop. Let's carry on reading the story together then, see if we find one. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have lunch in my underground house. It's terribly kind of you, fox, but no, I'm going to have lunch with a Gruffalo. Oh, where is the fact or idea in that bit? Come and have lunch in my underground house. It's terribly kind of you, fox, but no, I'm going to have lunch with a Gruffalo. Pause the video, have a think. What's the statement in that part of the story? Right, let me see. Did you find it? Let's see. Let me share my PowerPoint with you again. Let's see if you found the same one as me. I'm going to have lunch with a Gruffalo. That is a fact or an idea. The mouse has an idea that he is going to have lunch with the Gruffalo. That's what he wants to do. Fantastic if you found that one. Well done. So your turn. Can you now carry on looking through the Gruffalo story? Can you find another statement in there? Remember, it's a sentence that is a fact or an idea and ends with a full stop. Pause the video now and off you go. Right, shall we have a look for the next one? Let's have a look for a question together. Remember, a question is where a sentence is asking someone something and they expect a reply. And what punctuation mark is at the end of a question? It's a question mark. Well done. Right, have we got any questions in our first part of the story? Let's see. So, we have got down here, next part, a Gruffalo. What's a Gruffalo? A Gruffalo, why? Didn't you know? Let's read that bit again. A Gruffalo? What's a Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? Why? Didn't you know? Pause the video now and have a think. Are there any questions in that part of our story? Off you go. Did you find it? Let's see. Let's see if you found the same one as me. Ready? What's a Gruffalo? It's a question, isn't it? There was quite a few questions in that bit actually, so you might have even found a different one. But what's a Gruffalo? Can you see it ends in a question mark? And they're asking something, aren't they? And they expect a reply. They want to know what a Gruffalo is. Well done. Right, your turn. Can you read through more of the Gruffalo? See if you can find another question and write it in your journal, please. Pause me and off you go. Right, let's move on. Let's look for an exclamation this time together. Let's look for an exclamation. I'm going to turn the page. Let's see if we can find an exclamation. Our next part of the story goes, he has terrible tusks and terrible claws and terrible teeth in his terrible jaws. Where are you meeting him? Here by these rocks. And his favourite food is roasted fox. Roasted fox, I'm off, said Fox. Goodbye, little mouse, and away he sped. Ooh, roasted fox, I'm off, Fox said. Goodbye, little mouse, and away he sped. Have a think. Pause the video. Is there an exclamation in that part of the story? Have a think. Off you go. Did you find it? Let's see if you did. Are you ready to see if you've pointed to the one that I got? Yes! Roasted fox, I'm off! I can tell that is an exclamation because at the end there is an exclamation mark. And look, it's strong emotion. The fox is scared. He's saying, I'm off, goodbye. Well done. Right, your turn. Can you find an exclamation in your journal? Sorry, not in your journal, in the Gruffalo story, and then write it in your journal. Remember, an exclamation ends with a exclamation mark, and you're looking for something that has strong emotion in the sentence. Pause the video now and off you go. Right, last one for today. Are you ready? Let's see if we can find a command together. Can we find a command together? Let's go back to our first part of the story together. See if we can find one. Remember, a command is something where somebody is asking or telling you to do something, isn't it? You remember in On the Way Home, look at my bad knee, said Claire. She was asking and telling people to look at it, wasn't she? So let's see, have we got anything that's asking or telling us to do something in this part of the story? A mouse took a stroll through the deep, dark wood. A fox saw the mouse and the mouse looked good. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have lunch in my underground house. Or is there anything that's asking or telling us to do something in that part of the story? I'll read it one more time. A mouse took a stroll through the deep, dark wood. A fox saw the mouse, and the mouse looked good. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have lunch in my underground house. Pause the video. Can you point and find the command? Did you find it? Shall we see? Let me share my screen again for you. Did you point and find the right one? Did you point to it? Come and have tea in my underground house. The fox is telling the mouse to come and have tea, isn't he? He's saying, come on, come and have tea. He's using a verb at the beginning of his sentence to tell him to do something. Super. So, can you now have a look in the rest of the story of the Gruffalo? Can you find another example of a command and can you write it in your journals? Off you go. Brilliant, well done. So that's where we're going to stop for today because there's lots of things we need to identify. So tomorrow we'll have a further think about the other things we've learned and if we can find some more examples in the Gruffalo. So today we managed to find some examples, didn't we? We identified a question, statement, exclamation, a command, and also an expanded noun phrase. We've reminded ourselves of what they are so we know, and we also wrote down some examples that you found in the Gruffalo, didn't we? So well done, super learning for today, and I look forward to seeing all the examples that you find when you send through those to your teachers. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.